We turn now to Michael Maloof, a former senior Pentagon strategic analyst and now a firearms instructor. Great to have you on the show, Michael. Now, as we just heard there, nearly 10 years on, how would you say things have changed since Sandy Hook in terms of gun regulation?
Well, I think on a number of levels, it has increased in terms of recognizing certain individuals who are most prone to this kind of mass violence. There has been additional, unfortunately, very unfortunately, there have been other mass killings, but since then, since Sandy Hook. But what we're seeing is that there's a certain age group that these are incidences are occurring, and there is now more attention being paid to how to deal with these kinds of activities with this particular age group. These are predominantly young males, and who are very, very who need to be gotten some help, and I think that this is what we're going to have to deal with. There is other areas that can still be attended to, which have not been done, and that is at the federal level. Not all states are sending information of crimes that have been committed, felonies or even misdemeanors, or violence in the home.
Okay, but you're missing the central point of these massacres is the fact that these people all had guns. So let's not skirt around that issue. What needs to change so that people, regardless of their mental health incapacities, what needs to change in terms of making sure these people don't get their hands on guns?
Well, it depends upon, well, first of all, the United States has the Second Amendment. You cannot dismiss that. Laws are designed, these more restricted laws are designed to, against law-abiding citizens. What we need to have done is more recognition of how to be able to respond to these kinds of very early on, these kinds of activities with people who have problems. And have reporting so that they can be dealt with.
Okay, so specifically,
you're not going to get rid of the guns. You're not going to get rid of the guns. You're not going to get rid of even so-called assault weapons, whatever those might be, because the U.S. Constitution does not outline what guns are allowed and which are not.
But polls show that there is overwhelming support for some kind of restrictions on firearms, but GOP lawmakers fear that they could pay steep political consequences. How can Americans feel safe if politics is always being put ahead of lives?
Well, there has been very recently legislation passed for the first time in quite a number of years, in which citizens can have their guns taken away by law and by a court if it looks like they are a danger to themselves and to others. But that needs to be fully implemented yet. But there is more that can be done in a way that does not deprive citizens, legal citizens, of their rights to have and bear arms, and that's what it's a very thin line, and as I say, they got to be paying more attention to young people who have a lot of issues and a lot of disturbances. And it's a challenge.
With all due respect, there are issues in all over the world with lots of young people, but the difference here is the guns in hand. But we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time. Michael Maloof there, former strategic Pentagon analyst and firearms instructor. In Mexico City.